everybody. How are we doing today? Sorry about the delay. I was posting links saying I was going live. We have Axel back in the chat today, Randall, and Rob back in the chat today. How are you guys doing? It's good to see you, Randall. I haven't seen you in a while. And then, of course, we have Dave here, and Odari is here. Hello, Odari. Odari drew me as a Star Wars character, and I'm super pumped about it and super excited about it, except for I missed the last 2 streams, and I had to go back and watch the replays, so I'm super pumped about it. How is everybody doing today? Say Randall and Odari are also both streamers here on Behance. Oh, Adobe Live is here too. Hello, Adobe Live. There is a link to both Randall and Odari. Boop. Although, Randall, I don't think you've streamed in a while. That's okay, though. Anyhow, let's switch over to my other screen. Oop, that's the wrong screen. Please hold. There we go. Alright, so we're going to be working in Fresco again today. We've been working on adding characters to this background that I painted off stream. Yesterday we worked on her. We got pretty far. She's looking pretty cute. We're gonna follow suit with the rest of them, and we're gonna finish up her clothes today, so I'm very excited to do that. It is also 81 degrees here in Ohio. I've turned the air conditioning on, and it is supposed to snow on Tuesday, so everyone pray that my sinuses do not lose control. I just thought I would share that with everyone. How's everybody else doing on this happy Sunday? Alright, so getting started, we started to add a little bit of a base shadow yesterday on the bottom of her shirt, and instead of doing a darker version of the yellow color, I chose to do kind of a little bit more saturated of a green color. I thought that might be a fun little, like, mix. Oh, Dari's saying, do you have a Jedi hand injury? Dave says no, she still has her hand. I do. I burned my hand, it's a chemical burn, on Icy Hot, and I don't know, yesterday I was completely fine with streaming. It doesn't hurt that bad, but it'll start kind of stinging and it'll bother me a little bit, so if I decide that I have to, like, leave the stream early, I will do that, because I don't want to, like, overwork this hand and then not be able to, like, use it at all, so. Oh, Darius saying it's 80 in Detroit. Ugh. I mean, I love the heat, so I'm, like, excited, but I just can't believe that we went from, like, 30 degrees to 80 degrees in 2 days. I mean, I can believe that. I've lived here all my life, but... Oh, Darius says your hand is singing. Did I say singing? I meant stinging. Sorry. I did mean stinging, not singing. I'm out of control. I don't know how to words. Alright, let's bring this down a little bit more. While I have this same color, I'm gonna do her socks down here as well. Just give it a very light, very light grainy shading. That might be a little too high up. I think we just want that to go probably about there. That also might be a little too high up down there, but that's okay. Oh, hello, Nidalee. The cat that you never get to see is trying to make her presence known right now, so we'll see if she comes over here. Hi. What are you doing? She doesn't know what she's doing. She's so weird. Dave, your cat is weird. Alright, so let's take this big, dark, textured brush, and let's try working with that first. I'm gonna switch back to the shirt. I'm gonna make another clipping mask over here, and we're gonna start like contouring some of this. And we'll probably just end up using 100% of this color, but let's kind of bring down the saturation a bit, or the brightness, not the saturation, sorry. Odari says we share the same weather, state neighbors basically. Exactly. Exactly. Us people on like the lakes, you know, Michigan and Lake Erie and everything. And Gareth is here. Hello, Gareth. How are you doing today? Thanks for popping in. Ooh, that's way too dark. Okay, so let's lighten that up significantly. Let's see what that looks like. That's too... That's okay. I don't like this brush, so let's switch brushes again. Let's see what our flat gouache brush looks like. Oh, I like that a bit better. It's a little bit more controlled. Let's stick with that. I'm also going to change the color of these lines again in here, probably to reflect a little bit more green. So that might look a little off for a bit. Let's change this to 50. Rob is asking, you have a ferret too, right? I have 4 ferrets. Unintentionally, but yes, I do have 4 ferrets. And 2 cats. Gareth says, fine, thanks, just getting dinner. Having anything good tonight? Dave and I got chicken from that chicken place yesterday, and it was delicious. I think Dave and I are gonna go peruse the metro parks later today. The metro parks are just like nice outdoor areas, like nature preserves and stuff in our area. Gareth says classic Sunday food: chicken, chips, and fries. Chicken and chips slash fries. Sorry, that sounds wonderful. That's what I had yesterday. Except with a lot of hot sauce because I really like spicy food. Okay, so I'm gonna push this area that I just went over into dark a little bit more, since that's like in an area that would pretty much be all shaded, to really push that shadow. Do the same thing over here. Same thing over here where like her clothes are meeting parts of the shirt. Probably a little bit down here. too much there. Rep says, cool, how does that work? 4 ferrets and 2 cats. They all get along just fine. The cat that never shows herself on stream, she's kind of grumpy, but she leaves them alone. Like, she either just runs from them or, like, she'll kind of, like, bat towards them, but she doesn't, like, bat. Like, she doesn't hit them most of the time. None of them have ever really had any injuries or anything from them. And then the other cat that we have, Nyx, that was a hiccup, I'm sorry. We got him as a kitten, so, he pretty much just thinks he is a ferret. So that's how that ended up working out. Odari says, I fired up the grill yesterday and I'm chilling and eating today and beer. Oh, that sounds delicious. Dave wants a grill so bad, but we live in an apartment, so, you know. The grill life is not our life yet. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and change this line color right now to be something. Let's actually pump this all the way up to 100. That looks a little bit better. Thanks for the follow. Is it Widhia? Is that how you pronounce that? If you are in the chat, I get to use my button. Jack Watson is in the chat. Jack says, oh my gosh, it is so hot in my office. Same. We have the air on right now because I was just laughing earlier about how it went from like 30 degrees earlier in the week to 81 today. Jack is another streamer here on Behance, and there is a link to Jack's Behance profile. Odari says no grill in my Luke Skywalker voice. Yeah, no grill. We have like a little charcoal guy in the apartment complex that we could use, but it's like a community grill and it just seems like a lot of work. Jack says I'm resisting turning on the AC since it's gonna get cold again. Yes. It's just supposed to go back to like 30 degrees by Tuesday or something like that. I have turned it on because we live on the top floor of our apartment and it gets stuffy in here, so I was also sweating because I cleaned this morning and I was like, yeah, I'm not sitting here roasting the rest of the day. It's just not happening. Okay, let's move on from the shirt for right now. I might revisit that later. We'll see. Let's go into, make this a bit bigger, I think. I think we need a little bit more gradual of a brush. Let's switch to our big watercolor painter. I really liked this brush yesterday. So we can kind of build up this color a little bit more rather than have it be such a harsh transition. Odari's office is in the basement and is nice and cool. I'm very jealous, Odari. Actually, not really, because I really like the heat. So, like, I'm jealous, but only to an extent because I know that, like, every other time of the year I would be freezing down there and I'd be like, I don't want to be in the basement. It's too cold. My office is upstairs. I just came from outside doing yard work, and it is roasting. Yeah, I would imagine. I did some cleaning. I took like the extra blankets off the bed and put them in the closet, and I like cleaned up just general stuff around the house, and we didn't have the air on. And up here it was even like roasting. I went outside for like 2 seconds to take some garbage out, and I was like, well. Get a little bit of grain going in there. I know it's hard to see, but Dave is announcing that the chicken place we went to yesterday was wonderful. Was a huge fan of it. When we left, he told me I had to tell you, Jackie, so switch back to this. I'm gonna change these lines while I'm thinking about it, so they're a bit easier to see and they're not like glowing against that. Okay, back to this big dark textured brush is fine. So Darius saying it's gonna be cold and rainy again tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I think it's supposed to be the same here. I'm not excited. Let's change this to a 30. I'm gonna argue with myself on what brush size I would like to make this. And it's getting, that's probably like way too dark in there. See if we could blend that out a little bit. I'm catching up on the chat. Ooh, Dari, what kind of flowers are you planting? I'm not a gardener at all. But I'm always curious. I love plants. Can't really have a lot of plants because the cats. So one day I hope I have a house where I can actually put some plants, like some cute little indoor plants, and have like some kind of nice garden. I'm not a big fan of how dark the shading is on this sock. Like, I think it's working with the her shirt. Like, I think that works well, but this sock is really, the stocking, I guess, is bothering me. switch back to my big watercolor painter. Rob is saying I can't wait for things to green up. Same. Oh, Darius saying, oh my god, I cooked so much chicken yesterday. It's insane in my fridge right now. And Dave is confirming that we are terrible with leftovers. It's true. We'll eat them like maybe once, and then we forget about them and we move on to like cooking the next thing. And then whatever's left of those leftovers goes bad. We're terrible, and I hate it. Yeah, I'm not sure if that chicken place was a food truck before. They're brand new. I think there used to be like a fish place there before. So I wonder if I just pull the opacity down on this, like overall, make that a 70 if that might work. Yeah, I kind of like that a little bit better. It's not as strong. Okay, let's stick with that. We have her overalls and her, that was a hiccup, I'm so sorry, and her boots left. Whoa, Rob says I'm getting excited. We plant a half-acre vegetable garden out in the farm. Time to plan that out. That sounds amazing. I imagine that's quite a lot of work, though. That sounds absolutely amazing, though. All right, let's move to the overalls. Let's push this violet down into the blue. Probably getting a little too dark. Let's brighten that up a little bit first. Probably somewhere in there. So I'm gonna add just some very light, soft, fluffy shadow. And again, like I've been doing, this is all on a clipping mask. So that way it's non-destructive. And if I really don't like the colors that I've chosen, I can adjust, I can delete, I can erase. All that good stuff. Oh, I suppose I should add some highlights on the shirt and on the socks too. Which also appears super green now compared to what I was doing. So I might have to play with might have to play with the color of that a little bit more. Maybe I'll push it a little bit more into the blue so it's like a tealy color instead of like super green. Odaria is saying leftovers means lunch at work for me. My wife isn't a fan of leftovers. More for me. I like leftovers. I just don't want to eat the same thing like over and over and over and over and over again, especially if it's something that doesn't like heat up well. Ooh, Gareth says leftovers usually means making a curry here. I love curry. Curry is delicious. Rob is saying my wife is masterful at reusing leftovers. I feel like my mom was too. I just didn't inherit that. Okay. So I want to change the inside of her pants here. I want to change that to be like a little bit more blue. Let's say this is that. Yes. So we're going to take this. Push that down to be more blue. Yeah. Then we're going to put this buckle back here also in that same blue color. I think we might. I think that's okay. That's probably okay as is. Okay. Let's try this soft pastel. See what that looks like. And everybody's hungry again, and Odari wants curry. Same. Same. How is it my streams always accidentally lead to food? How do we do this? Let's change the opacity on this to like a 50 so it's not so strong. And then we'll build it up. Still want to keep this nice textured look. I don't want to smooth that out too much. Add maybe a little bit of a wrinkle there, just a little bit. That's cute, I like that. I also might change the color of these lines that I originally did. This like, it's more of like a dull violet to like a little bit more of a blue violet. If everybody keeps talking about food, I'm gonna have to end my stream early specifically just to get food. I'm just kidding, I wouldn't do that, but... Okay, let's pick out a nice highlight color. So let's grab this color and let's kind of push that maybe a little bit. Maybe we want that to be kind of like pushed towards the blue too, but be a little bit lighter. Let's see what that looks like. Let's give this a nice save first. Nope, not a fan of that. That works. Let's go with this. A nice light purpley pastel color. Okay, that's cute. I like that. I'll put a bigger highlight here, but I kind of want to blend that out a bit around the edges. Keep some texture in there. That's nice. That looks nice. Lots of texture in there, green. Oh, Dave is feeding my hunger, saying that we're making lemon pepper pork chops for dinner. I really love lemon pepper, so that makes me insanely happy, just for the record. Rob says stop it. I'm sorry. Too much food. Okay, I think that's pretty good for her little romper that she has. You could also do that, Dave. Dave says, or I can make garlic parmesan pork chops. You're just being cruel now. Let's, the last little thing that I think I want to do while we're on here is let's switch to my clean sketch and come back down to like this really dark purple. And I think I just want to make like a line right here. Do that. I'll come up here to the light one. And that's just going to indicate where like the hole would be for like this button on the other side. Also, there is someone else who just followed me, and I can't pronounce your name, and I apologize, but thank you for the follow. Okay, let's switch our line color before we move on to anything else. Use a bit more solid of a brush. Let's just pull this down a bit. I like that a lot better, I think. Oops, that one kind of got out of control. That just looks a lot nicer. Okay, I like that. Let's just fix this little oopsie that I did up here. Okay, so while we're on the purple track, we'll add a little bit of shading to, oops. I convert that to a pixel layer, and we're just gonna lock on the transparency of this because it's such a small area that I don't really care if it gets a little wonky. Oops. Switch to our big watercolor brush. Lighten this up just a smidge. Also darken that area a bit in there. Garrett is saying I can hear your stomach rumbling from here, Rob. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Rob says I made a wonderful steakhouse pecan crusted pork chop. Oh. Dave says, sorry, my creative switch turns on when I'm thinking about cooking. That's true. Rob is saying, no worries. I always found my creative department always marched on its stomach. Same. Same. Ooh, sriracha marinade for the chicken. Dave, you spoil me. Y'all talking about food? It's over. Alright. That is pretty good for her outfit. Super saturated colors. Looking good. Alright, let's kind of clean up my layering here. Hello, please. There we go. Group that together. Hair top. Done. Group these guys together. Shirt. Okay, so I actually think her shirt is okay now that I've done the shading on the, like, her little romper. I don't think it looks quite as misplaced as it did. I do, however, want to... Where did I put this moon at is really what I want to know. Looks like it's on its own. Did I put it on the line art layer? I did. Okay, so let's unlock the transparency on that. And I want to roughen up the edges on this moon a little bit. And I might actually yank this guy on its own layer. So let's cut selection. Come in here to her clothes. To paste selection. So that's on its own layer. Let's see if we can find... a blending mode that I like. I kind of liked this the soft light where it just becomes like a little bit lighter of a purple. That's kind of cute. I think we will just take the edges of this and kind of just rough this up. And I'll kind of smudge that out a bit too, so it's not quite so clean. Okay, that's cute. Let's go with that. Well, everybody in the chat is talking about brining their chickens or their turkey, and that sounds delicious, and I want food, and I'm immediately going to eat after the stream, just so everyone knows, per usual. All right. Highlights on her shirt and her socks, I think. You'll probably just do that on one layer. I'll just save this. I believe that's the last thing that I would like to do for this for right now. Let's take the big dark texture. Oop, too much. Too big. Undo. Thank you. That one's kind kind of hard to see down there. Let's brighten that up just a little bit more. All right, let's go back to the shirt. There we go. Add a couple crease highlights in here. Nothing too fancy. Thanks for the follow, Monsieur. Oh, hey, Nick. Rob is saying, that is so cool, Sarah. Adds a nice feel and doesn't pull the eyes as much. What part? I was kind of like delayed on the chat, so what part? Nick is also here. Nick is a friend in real life, and Nick says, I want turkey. Why not both? One today, sandwich tomorrow. I like that thinking. David asking a roast turkey or a turkey sandwich, and that's what Nick was saying. Why not both? Oh, food. I love food. Ooh, Rob is saying one of my favorite places used to do a smoked turkey sandwich topped with applewood bacon and sauteed onions and Gouda gravy. That sounds delicious. For Thanksgiving this year, my stepdad smoked a turkey, and it was probably, oops, the best turkey that I've ever had. It was truthfully a masterpiece. Okay, so that's probably good. The boots and her little choker, I think, are the last thing that we need to work on, and then she can be done. Just realized I need to go through and I just want to delete this area here so it's not cutting through her eye, because I think that's a little bit distracting. Ooh, too much. Ah, curses. That's probably good. It wasn't super noticeable, but I could see it when I zoomed in, especially when I looked at it on the computer screen that's in front of me, so. Nick is saying Rob just made me want Arby's. Every time I stream, we all leave wanting some form of food. It's just how it is. Okay, so her boots should be super easy. I think we're gonna do anything too fancy with them. Okay, let's grab our smudger guy. Let's try to texture some of this up and push some of this color around a bit. Give me a little bit darker of a brush. That might have been too much. Darker brush, but let's pull that down a bit so that way we can add some texture in some of these creases down here. Also with this area. Definitely gonna need to give her some ground shadows. So that'll just be like along like her foot here, the bottom of her shoe. She just needs a line and some ground shadows so she doesn't look like she's floating on the background. Oh, Dari made second lunch. I'm jealous. I haven't even had first lunch yet. I had a Pop-Tart today. That was it. Sonia is in the chat. Hello, Sonia. How are you doing today? Thanks for popping into my stream where we draw and talk about food. Rob is saying, I did notice Arby's south of the 49th is way different than Arby's up here. I think that's true for most fast food places. It's different from like country to country, and honestly, sometimes it can be different from like even state to state here in the US, which is interesting, but I don't know if it's better up there or if it's better down here. I don't know. I don't eat a ton of fast food. I try not to because it's bad for you. Arby's, however, is a weakness. Randall's asking what flavor my Pop-Tart was. I was always partial to s'mores. It was not s'mores, it was the cookies and cream one, so it's close. You've never had Arby's, Randall? Oh my goodness. That's okay though. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not big on fast food, but I do like me a Jamocha shake from Arby's and a beef and cheddar. I should also say that the only reason I'm not big on fast food is because I don't like the way that I feel after I eat fast food. You know, because it's just loaded with like salt and stuff. So I always either still feel hungry or I just feel like unsatisfied and like bloated and gross. You know, just fast food things. I'm gonna clean up this shoe a bit, but I want to get just some rough shading in here. Randall's saying if it's fast food, I like Wendy's. I also like Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets. Those are another weakness of mine. Rob is saying I always feel guilty after. Same, Rob, same. I don't get enough exercise to justify eating fast food very often. Oh, Daria says, yeah, I don't dig on fast food myself. It's gross. Yeah. I mean, it's good if you're like in a hurry or whatever, or if you really have like a craving for it, or if it's Taco Bell and you hit that like 1 a.m. I've been drinking all night, I need a taco, which has not happened in a very long time, but okay, let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. We need some highlights on these shoes. They're a little dark. That's okay. To kind of rough in just some like harder shadows in here. Then let's take our smudge brush treatment and kind of push some of this back while still keeping that texture. Okay, let's stick with that. We'll save it. We're gonna use this as a highlight color. It's like nice sky bluey color. Let's go with a really soft pastel to try and add those. Let's do this on a separate layer, just in case. Yeah, I think that works. You just need a smaller brush. So yeah, I don't like that. Let's clear that. It might be just a little bit too cyan. Let's try that again. I like that much better. Oh, I've missed much of the chat. I'm sorry. Oh, Asun is here. Hello, Asun. How are you doing today? Oh, Gareth is also agreeing with what I said about the fast food, about how he always feels hungrier than before he was eating the fast food. That is correct. Always feel the same way. Excuse me. Darius says we have White Castle and Coney Island for late night drunk food. I did Coney Island food better. I've never had either of those. And Rob is saying I did fall in love with Culver's and Fatburger when traveling to the US. I've never had Fatburger, but we did have a Culver's that opened up by us, and they are delicious. Nick is saying their milkshakes are probably my favorite, and that is absolutely correct. They're so good. And Asuna is saying, I've never tried Culver's, but people say it's good. It is good. I don't think I don't think that it's like the world's greatest thing. Like it's not like the best burger I've ever had in my entire life, but it's good. It's very good. And as soon as saying, I'm good. Sorry to hear about your hand. How did you burn it? So, I slept funny, either Monday or Tuesday. I want to say it was Tuesday, on my shoulder, and my whole arm was just like sore from sleeping funny. If you've ever like slept funny on your leg or your arm before, you know how that feels. So I attempted to put icy hot on my arm and my leg. On my arm and my leg. I'm painting the leg, which is why the word leg just came out of my mouth. On my arm and my shoulders. And apparently I had a very bad reaction to the icy hot, and that is how I ended up burning. To really bring that down like that. I basically have like a chemical burn on my arm. Or my hand. My brain's in too many places at once. Sorry. So, it is all bandaged up, but Matt is here. I also know Matt in real life. Matt says, what is sleep? That is true. It is elusive many times. Asuna is saying, oh, that sucks. Yes. Yes. And Matt is saying, I would always recommend BioFreeze. It's less harsh than Icy Hot. I've heard BioFreeze is better, and Tiger Balm is good. That came at the recommendation of somebody at work. So my hand is, it's having a time right now. It looks a lot better than it did, but it's still eh. Okay, so she's looking super cute, and I love her. And I'm really happy with the way she turned out. So let's just color her necklace really quick, and then I think we're good to move on from her, and hopefully whoever I decide to color next will turn out just as good. Let's brighten this up a little bit. Just a smidge on the choker. There we go. Can give that a nice save. Nick is asking if we want Five Guys. Nick lives near us, so he's asking if we want dinner. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I would be down for Five Guys as long as we can still walk around the metro parks. Okay, so we still have to do her buttons. Let's do the buttons really quick. I think I'm gonna change the color of those buttons. I need to figure out where those are. They are on the liner. So let's lock the transparency on that. We're gonna change the color of those buttons, I think, to the really dark blue. Because I think the silver kind of gets, oops. The silver gets very lost. The blue kind of just stands out a little bit better. Okay, let's stick with this pastel brush. Actually, I'm a liar. Let's change the pastel brush. I don't like that. Let's use the big dark watercolor brush. So we're just gonna roughly paint the buttons kind of like this. And then I think we're just gonna add, let's take this clean sketch. We'll add like little buttonholes on this. And maybe just like, kind of like a little rim like that so it doesn't look like such a round button. And it looks more like a button. I don't know if that was a very good description, but button and round button. Oh, Nick says, oh, I'll come to that too. Perfect. We have a plan for after my stream. Matt is saying now I want 5 guys. Oh, I also missed you say, you have bad ankle and it works wonders. And Rob is saying Tiger Balm is the bomb. See, I'm gonna have to try this stuff now. You guys are the best. Recommendations coming in. I'll never have to use Icy Hot again. I hopefully will never have to like harm my burnt hand again. Matt's saying about 8 years ago I was in a 4-wheeler accident and I rolled and I was thrown out in my lower back and landed on a tree root. Oh! And so Matt's a photographer, so long wedding days and my back starts to hurting and I can't keep and I can keep shooting for biofreeze. Okay. That does sound extremely painful. I agree with Isoon. I'm sorry. I'm glad you found something to like fix that though. I rolled a 4-wheeler once. I didn't get hurt. I was okay, but I did not do it that bad. Jack gave in and turned the AC on. And is also saying, oh my god, Sarah, you don't know about Tiger Balm? I didn't. We hired a new person at work who was super nice, and I was complaining. I was like stretching in like a meeting we were having because like my shoulder was so sore at the beginning of the week, and she's like, Stop using your icy hot and use Tiger Balm. And now I know. So now I'm gonna have to get it. Okay, so I think our little moon puff is done. If anyone has any suggestions or anything for her while I start the sun puff here, please let me know. I'll be working on her skin now. So let's move on to the sun puff layer. We'll give ourselves a nice save. It is 3:15 already. Gosh, time always flies on stream. This can probably be merged into one layer. Yes. Let's add a clipping mask. Actually, let's do a skin test here really quick because I remember I had to go back and change part of the moon puff and I don't want to do that again. Let me just take this, the gouache is a super dark brush. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was the same color because I think I ended up changing her skin tone, and when I tried to paint with her like shadow color that I picked, it was super, super dark. So we want to avoid that. Let's see, as soon as asking, oh, Jackie's saying Tiger Balm is the only thing I use. I'm gonna have to order it now. Or see if they have it at the drugstore. But I will definitely never use Icy Hot again. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, where have I put... There's her cheeks. We're gonna delete the little rosy cheeks because for this one we are treating the blush how I treated the blush on her face here. Just a little bit different. Scrolling back up, a student says, does anybody know about Karmicide? It helps with stomach aches. I have never heard of that. I don't get stomach aches very often though. Ah, thanks for popping in, Odari. It was good to see you. Odari is heading out to go pick up the missus from work. That is fair. I agree with Nick. Soon, you do not want to see my hand. I will make sure that will stay covered. Okay, let's try to blend this out just a bit. Do I have her neck? I do have her neck on here. Okay. See, Matt is saying, also chemical burns suck. I'm sorry, Sarah. I learned I'm allergic to bleach the hard way. Oh my gosh, I cannot even imagine. At least when it comes to cleaning, not laundry. Ooh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. As soon as saying chemical burns are the worst, I know a lot of people who have gotten them before. I don't know anyone who's gotten them before. So when I first got this, I genuinely had no idea what it was, to be honest. I was very confused. Okay, so let's add while we're here. My favorite part is adding the blush. I get like too excited to do it, so we're just gonna go ahead and add it so it doesn't like drive me insane. I just think it's such a cute thing to add. That and like the little hair thing like I did to the moon puff with the little like underglow. Okay, there's that. Now let's set that layer. Oop, I just went out of it on accident. To multiply. Pull that way down to about there. And then we can kind of go in here and kind of push some of that out of the way. I'm not using the eraser, I'm just using the smudge tool. To kind of push some of that back. Just a little bit. Ooh. Y'all are talking about chemical burns now. Ooh. As soon as saying, oh shoot, I remember I have to post today. I should get on that soon. You definitely should. I always forget to, like, I'm not a good daily poster at all. Rob says I managed to get chemical burns from an airbag deployment. That sounds terrible. Was it like a car accident or Matt is asking if I have anything for it currently. I can't remember the name of it, but there was some special lotion my fiance's sister had me put on my hand from the bleach, and it helped fully in a few days. I'm using, it's like a burn relief. It's got like aloe in it and stuff. It's like a gel. I don't remember what it's called though. I'd have to go look. Genuinely cannot remember off the top of my head right now. And then Laura is here. Hello, Laura. How are you doing? Oh, Istune, that's a fun way to think of it. Istune says, whenever somebody I'm drawing is wearing makeup, I pretend like I'm actually applying the makeup on them. It's actually really fun and it works for me. That's a really cute idea. Laura is saying, hello, Sarah. And oh man, I'm sorry to hear about your burn. Thank you. It's been a time. It's not that bad. It's on my hand. That's like the really only inconvenient thing about it because it gets in the way of a lot of stuff I'm doing. So, you know. Jack is suggesting silver sulfadiazine is good for burns. I don't know what that is, but I might have to try it. Or go look for it, I should say. Okay, let's go to our soft pastel color. Let's pump this up a little bit bigger. Just gonna come in here and add first of all, I think we need to make her lines a bit darker. Okay, that might be a little bit better. Let's actually push this down to like 50% opacity so I can kind of build up on it like I've been doing. Oh, it was from a deer. Okay, Rob's saying we had a deer on the highway head on and the airbags in the van deployed. Ah, but as they vented, they burned my forearms. We fared better than the deer, I would imagine. Wow, Matt says, chat talking about some sick burns. Sorry, I'll take my joke elsewhere. my bad jokes elsewhere. I appreciated it. I'll allow it. That's fair. Nick saying don't experiment too much though. You don't want to make it worse. I certainly don't. It seems to be healing pretty good right now. Like it's not, unless it like touches something, it really doesn't bother me all that much. So I feel lucky in that sense. If I uncover it and it hits the air too long, it gets a little bit stingy, and I've been trying to like air it out, but also put like a little bit of aloe on it. too much. Try smudging this a bit. Just a bit. Okay, we might have to bring this down just a smidge more. Take that down to like a 20. See what that looks like zoomed out. Okay, that's pretty good. I just didn't want the blush to look too dark. Ugh, Nick. Blech. As soon as asking, do you ever feel like you're making a decent piece of art and then the next day you look at it and you realize that there are terrible proportions and the eye position should be higher? Yes, I have done that before. So, oops. I have done that before, and I think that is why it's important to take breaks from whatever you're working on. Frequent breaks. I know it's hard to do that, but like try to work in increments instead of spending hours and hours and hours upon something, because you can always adjust your mistakes if you step away from it and you're able to see the piece a little bit more clearly. If you're working digitally, a good way to also identify those mistakes before it gets too late is to flip your canvas. So I will typically flip my canvas when I'm sketching something or trying to do, like work out proportions and stuff. I don't typically flip the canvas when I'm coloring. Sometimes I will if I'm like doing like a more realistic painting. But a good way to like catch yourself from doing that is to like flip the entire canvas digitally. So if I save this, and then I can flip it, and you can see, because you'll have like a fresh perspective on it, you can see if anything's skewing. So for example, actually I have a good example of it here, and I might have to go into Photoshop and fix it, is this eye here seems a little bit skewed to me compared to this eye if I zoom out. But I hadn't noticed that when I was when I had this flipped the other way. Also, I have no idea what's happening here. Sometimes fresco just gets weird. So everything else really looks pretty okay. She might be a little skewed, like this eye might be kind of tilted a little bit too far, and I might have to take that whole layer and just kind of rotate it a little bit so it's not going down this way a little bit. But that's my advice on skewed proportions like that. Like, it's particularly in these eyes that I think like this one just needs to be opened up a little bit more. It is a pain to also remember to flip your canvas, I will admit. Matt is saying all the time in my photographies. That's comforting to know that it happens when you're taking like photographs of stuff too. Rob says I do the same with traditional art. Hold it up to a mirror. That's a really good trick. I never thought to do that before with traditional art. A student says that is very smart, and I shall do that more on. Should do that more now. Words are hard. Yeah, that's it's very hard to train yourself to do that, I think. But once you get into the habit of doing it, you'll be like significantly happier with how things are turning out. When I was sketching them, I probably should have done a little bit better of a job flipping the canvas. So now, like, I'm probably going to have to go back and fix this eye a bit, and I'll probably go back and I will fix the slanted eye a little bit too. I struggle with eyes sometimes for whatever reason, just facial features in general. I think I just need to practice sketching them a little bit more to get better at them. I should also say that I learned that trick of flipping the canvas through watching other artists do stuff, uh, like on YouTube, and you'll watch people like stream, and you'll notice them doing that. So it's a very handy tip that I've picked up over the years. Um, it's also why I have that grayscale layer here, or I should say, it's not also why I have the grayscale layer, but I do add a grayscale layer or like an adjustment, or like in Photoshop I have like the color set to a hotkey so I can toggle between them. So that way you can check your values and you can make sure that like nothing is blending into the background. So if I turn this on and off, you can check and make sure that like your values are different enough. So like overall she's not too dark, so she's not blending into these bushes back here. Same with her, you don't want her to get lost in the midground, even though like these two colors are pretty similar. It also helps with like contrast with like clothing, so like you can tell that like the socks are lighter than the boots, the socks are lighter than her skin. Um, just stuff like that. It's very handy. I have no idea what this is. I'm gonna have to figure that out. It looks like Fresco just oopsed. That happens sometimes. Oh, it's in here somewhere. The question is where? The great mystery of this square. There it is. I don't know why that's there. I don't know why Fresco sometimes does that. It's happening in the chat that I'm missing. Oh, like me, Sarah Matt? Or a different Sarah? Matt saying, example, there's a photo I did of Sarah years ago where it's one of my favorite photos in my cosplay portfolio, but I just slightly misfocus on it and it bothers me all the time. I'm curious to know what photo that is if you're talking about me. Very curious. Laura is saying, hey Rob, I'm doing well. I have this Sunday to kind of chill, so it's nice to watch some streams. Yay, I'll be doing the Art Morph show tomorrow. Ooh, I'll have to be sure to tune into that tomorrow. Who is your guest on that show, Laura? I love the Art Morph shows. They're super fun. A student says I was self-taught. I never took lessons. Hey, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being self-taught. That's what like communities like Behance and YouTube and stuff, and like platforms where you can learn stuff like 21 Draw, Skillshare, stuff like that. Oh, hey Nick, how are you doing? Thanks for popping into my stream, my fellow Final Fantasy fan and player. We have two Nicks in the chat that both play Final Fantasy. Laura is saying I need to do more for values, the grayscale and flipping. It's a hard habit to get into. It really is. Oh, I know what photo you're talking about. Okay. Matt says yes, you, Sarah. It was from Shudokon where I shot you and Kat. Was that when she was, I think she had the bow, maybe? I don't remember who she was. But yeah, I do remember that. Matt says yes. Yeah, the bow. I do remember that. I remember, we were super paranoid that con because we didn't know if the bow was going to get taken away because the props for Shudokon were like the rules for them were really interesting about like not having like strings and stuff, and it was a whole thing. I vaguely remember that. I think it was Shudokon anyhow. As soon as saying, oh, when there's a random dot on a layer but you can't find it, I know that's the worst. You have to turn them on and off and try and figure it out. It's the worst. Nick's saying, I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well. I am doing good. I am doing good. All right. Let's stop flapping my gums. Get back to coloring. Sorry, sometimes I genuinely have so much fun in the chat that, like, I get so lost with what I'm doing because I, like, talk a lot. Not that that's a bad thing, it's funny sometimes. I'll be like, ah, yes, I'm not here to flap my gums. I am here to draw things for people on stream. See, a Knot is in the chat, and they're asking which software. I'm using Adobe Fresco for the iPad. It's also available for Windows, but it is not available for Macs yet. I learned that tomorrow is what almost just came out of my mouth. I learned that yesterday. See, I got about roughly 15 to 20 minutes left, so if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Oh, I do remember that. Matt says that was the con where my light stand got zip tied by staff. Yay, con. Staff damaging cosplayer and photograph stuff. I remember that, and I remember a lot of people being like really mad and like complaining about that on the ShudoCon page. They like were literally zip tying everything down to like people's like camera equipment. This is a long time ago. Umacorn is here. Umacorn and RB. How are you guys? Thanks for popping in today. Umacorn is another streamer here on Behance, and I believe Umacorn was live this morning. I have a hard time with morning streams. Morning streams and streams that are like super late at night. There is a link to Umacorn's Behance profile. Let's kind of smooth some of this texture out just a bit. I'll come back up here, and I think I would actually like to Just add a bit more depth over here. Alright, let's give that a good save. Oh, it's fighting now. It's angry. Oh, Mocorn saying, yeah, it's probably too early for the US. Sometimes. Other times it's like probably just when you're streaming, I'm like just awake enough to have my coffee and I'm like watching something on TV and I'm like, oh, my brain. You should, Matt. Matt says I really want to try streaming on here one day. Normally I do Twitch, but the reach for artists on Twitch is rough. It certainly is, and that's why I stopped streaming on Twitch. RB is saying Uma is not just a streamer, Sarah. She's gonna recreate Amsterdam. Dave is saying, so Uma has ascended, I see. You are doing an isometric city, I think, Umacorn? Is that what you're doing? Are you doing Amsterdam? Just out of curiosity. Asuna is saying, I want to try streaming too, but I don't have a good setup. It just takes time. I didn't have a good setup when I first started either. You'll get there eventually. Okay, let's go to the eyes. I think we're good on the skin for right now. Well, actually, that might be a lie. I think what I would like to do is maybe. Yes, okay. Give me this. And my soft watercolor painters. So I made her tights kind of sheer. So that way I could color the skin tone underneath them and have it still be visible, but still pick up that color of like the sheer tights, which is like that purpley like black. Oh, but Crit says RB keeps saying I will recreate Amsterdam in isometric. RB saying, hey folks, I'm just teasing Uma for her isometric buildings, nothing else. Matt saying, but I gotta go lurk, have a hole in the driveway and I need to fix. Ooh, that's rough. I'm sorry. Oh, hello, Steve. How are you doing? Steve says, good day, all. Thanks for popping into my stream. I only got about 10 minutes left, but either way, it is appreciated. Texture and soften this a little bit in certain places, like down here and over here. And then we'll grab our really dark color here and we'll just kind of, I'm not going to use a textured brush like I was doing, whoops, with the skin that's not inside the tights, because you're not going to be able to see that very well underneath like this overlay that I have. I think that looks pretty good. It might be a little too dark towards like her thigh over here. I'm gonna leave it for now, and I might adjust that. Let's go ahead and group those. We'll group all of that actually. Just gonna call that legs. I guess technically her arm's in there too. Oh well, it's fine. Oh, Rob, you should just give it a go. You could do traditional. You don't have to do digital art. You could do traditional art if you're more comfortable with that, if you wanted to give streaming a go. Okay, so on this, we need to add little highlight specks like we've been doing. I don't actually remember what brush I used on Moonpuff, so we're just going to use this. Okay, and I'm gonna come back to this layer. Our big soft texture brush. And on her little elbow, we're just gonna add a little bit of pink there. It might have been a little too much. Let's push that back a little bit. Okay. Do the same thing here. We'll take our soft pastel brush, and then we're gonna add some highlights that are more like this. Not a good save. Oh, Odari is back. Welcome back, Odari. Jack says +1 for Rob streaming. And Laura is saying, you are so talented and love your work. See? Omacorn says +2. Everybody's agreeing. Go, Rob, go. Soon saying, oh, only 4 minutes left. Yes. And Odari saying, looks awesome, Sarah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Just for tuning in, watching this and everything. Y'all are the best. Oop, that is not what I meant. Let's switch back to our lighter color here. Just gonna pull that through a little bit more that way. Pull that down a bit more. Let's add highlights to this back arm here. I don't know. I might add them to the legs too. Oops. So I don't think I like the highlight that much back there. We'll do just a little guy. Oh, somebody's name who I cannot pronounce in the chat says this is looking beautiful. Thank you very much. Rob says Chebel Descent. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Alright, on that note, I have 1 minute left. I believe Jack Watson is streaming right after me, so be sure to go check out Jack Watson. Has been working on a Society of Sprinkles. I don't know if that's what she's working on today. Brand design. That was fun to watch yesterday. Thanks, Dave. Sorry. Jack says, yeah, I'm doing that to get again today. It's too hot to start anything else right now. That is fair. I'm gonna go start watching Jack stream and get ready to eat some food, and then I'm going for a cruise in the Jeep later, so I will see you all next week. I'll be back, same time, same place. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Oh, thank you, Arby. Thank you very much. And on that note, I'll be back next week. Bye, everyone.